That is awesome. The whole sole point is to understand here star and the question mark. Having said that, let's move to the next board where we are going to study one of the most important concepts which are very, very important with respect to your programming or automation, right? What happens is if you have a Linux command, this command could be anything. For example, this could be anything, right? Let's take an example of ls. Generally, when suppose you are in your home directory and inside the home directory there are 20 files. Suppose when you write ls, it is going to print all those 20 directories, right? But where it is going to print it, where you are going to see the output of the ls command, you are going to see the output of ls command on your monitor. It is as simple as that, right? It means that whenever you run any Linux command, its output you can see on the monitor. And then you must be thinking that this is the most trivial thing. Why you are explaining this, right? If I have written a command, then of course I'm going to see the output of this command onto the monitor, right? But this is the default behavior of the Linux command. Whatever you have, it is going to show you the standard out. We call the whatever the output you are seeing of the ls command as a standard output, right? The standard output is going to, you can see on your monitor, right? And believe me, why I'm explaining this trivial thing, it is going to be clear in next 5 minutes. The ls command output is going, you can see on the monitor, and in Linux operating system, whatever the standard output of the command, you can see on the monitor. This is the default behavior, right? But as I am saying, this is the default behavior. You can change it, and you can ask me what is the meaning, right? If I am writing something on the terminal, it should show me the output there, but it is not necessarily true. You can have this output written to a particular file also, and we will prove it to you, right? But first thing first, if we have a ls command, if we are running ls command in the home directory, it is having 20 files, it is going to showcase you there in your monitor, right? Suppose you are writing in your home directory ls xyz.txt, and suppose this file is not there in the home directory. What is going to happen? ls command is going to showcase you error that it is not able to find xyz.txt. So basically, a command output can be standard output, or the command output can be an error, right? And again, that error is by default printed to your monitor once again. Again, you must be thinking that why this guy is talking about this. Absolutely, this is the common sense, right? But believe me, we are going to prove you that you can do things differently. Right now, I have just mentioned that the standard output of a command and standard error of a command by default is printed to the monitor. But what is the meaning of standard input, right? For that, I need to explain you one command, that is the sort command. What this command does. So by the way, during this during the learning of this Linux operating system, we will introduce some of the commands, right? And as the commands are so many, this is an ocean of commands, right? It is not possible to explain everything, but yes, whatever the most important command I see, which are going to be useful in your network automation, we will be introducing them. To understand standard input, you need to understand one command, which is the sort command. And what it takes, it actually sort whatever the input you give, right? What is the meaning of sorting? The meaning of sorting is writing something into a specific order. Suppose you are giving sort and then you enter. You are in the command line terminal. You are giving the sort command and you are giving enter, and then you write B or C, B, A, from where you are going to write, right? Because sort command is the sort command duty is to sort few of the character, whatever you are supplying, and you are going to supply these characters from the keyboard, because for any command, the keyboard is the standard input. And by the way, this arrow should be in this way. And I'm talking about now the sort command. It is as simple as that. So as soon as you write these three characters, because you want them to be sorted using the sort command, you need to inform the sort command that I'm done with providing you the input. Now give me the output. And that is why you are going to write here Control D. What is the meaning of Control D? Control D means that you are explaining the sort command that now I'm done with giving the input. Whatever I have given you, just sort it. And that is how it is going to sort it. The next thing it is going to show you is A, B, C. This is the output of the sort command, which is by default delivered to your monitor. You can see that, right? And here is the input of the sort command. From where you are taking this input from? You are taking this input from your keyboard, right? So three things. A standard output is always delivered to your monitor. A standard error is always delivered to your monitor. And a standard input, you are going to give it from your keyboard. It is as simple as that, right? But as I mentioned in previous sections or sessions, that everything Linux, sorry for this, as I mentioned in previous classes, everything in Linux is actually your file. It means that this monitor is a file, this keyboard is a file, this monitor is again a file, right? Even the hard disk is a file. Linux operating system presume all these things as a file, right? And interestingly, when you write any command on the Linux terminal, it is going to generate three different files. One is stdout. This is for your standard output, which is by default your monitor. It is as simple as that. A standard error file, it is also going to generate. And this is again your monitor. The input file it is also going to generate, which is your keyboard. It is as simple as that. Because everything in Linux is a file. And why Linux is using this philosophy? Linux is using this philosophy to make your life, to make everyone life who are using Linux pretty easy. And you are going to see that because of this property of the Linux, we can code well, we can automate well. Interesting, right? So whenever you run any command in Linux, it is going to create three different files. One is a standard out or stdout. It is for your standard output by default. This file is for your monitor. stdin, by default, this is your keyboard. stdr, this is again your monitor. It is as simple as that. But what if I do not want this output to be printed on my monitor? I do not want to do that. But in what circumstances you have that, right? Suppose, let's talk about it. Suppose you have a Linux server here or the Linux desktop machine running, and you have SSH into this server or the machine, and you are into the home directory. This home directory is having maybe 100 files and maybe 30 directories. What you want to do that is, if you write ls here in the home directory, it is going to print all those 130, right? And this is you are going to see in the terminal, which is your monitor too. It is as simple as that. We have discussed about it. But what if you do not want to print all these things into monitor. Because if you have worked on your routers and switches, you have worked on its console. If you write show run, it is going to print everything in the console regarding the show run, right? What if I do not want to print everything on the terminal? I do not want to print everything on the monitor. I want to make sure that the whatever the running command output I am taking, it should be saved in a file. Can I do that? Of course I can do that, because in Linux, the by default method of printing the output of a command is your monitor. Actually, whatever you write, whatever is the command output, it is going to be written towards the monitor. But you can explain, you can tell Mr. Linux that Mr. Linux, Mr. Operating System, I want to change your default behavior. Right now, I want to write the output of ls command to a particular file and not to the monitor, right? And this is what we can do. So previously, basically, everything is going towards the monitor, right? Every output error is going towards the monitor, and now you are redirecting it towards the file. And this is basically your redirection. But why do you want to write in a file? Because it could be possible that you want to see every file and directory into a particular file so that you can do some more operations into that. For example, a simple operation could be that you want to find all the files which are having ABC pattern in it. There are many hundreds of files, but you are interested in only maybe not ABC. Maybe you are interested only text files, right? So what you are doing here is you are finding out, you are getting everything out from here into a particular file. I have taken a very bad example though, but let's see, you want to do that, right? You are getting all the file names, folder names into this, and then basically you are doing some file matching operation, right? Or the pattern matching operations here to find out what are the files which are having .txt extension, although you can do with the simple command ls.txt star.txt, right? But you want to do it in a different way. And believe me, if you can collect the output of a particular command into a file, then again, there are many operations you can do on the file, like matching or anything, right? And that is why this is going to be very, very important. The redirection is going to be very, very important when we talk about automation. Interesting, right? So if you see that, again, if I come into this again explaining you the same thing, every Linux command is going to produce three different files, std out, std in, stdr. By default, these are monitors, keyboard, and whatever, right? But you can change this default behavior. And we are going to see that default behavior onto the next board. Try to understand this board more closely, right? I am going to explain here std out and std, right? So what is here? I am into the test directory, and this tilde proves that I am inside home, user, and under the user I am in test directory. If I do ls, it is going to give me these two different files, which are by default the files which are already present in test, right? You can also do or create these files. Now, what I'm doing here is, if I simply write ls, of course, the command output is going to be present here. It means that ls command output is there right there on the terminal, right? And that is the default behavior. But what if I want to change this default behavior? I do not want to print the ls output, which is this one, onto the screen, but I want to post or I want to send this output to a particular file, not to the monitor, but to the particular file. And that is why I am using the redirection. I am writing this ls and I am writing this greater than symbol. Greater than symbol is saying that command output ls should be sent to output.txt. If I write only ls, it is going to send the output to monitor. This is the default behavior. I do not want this default behavior. I want the output to be into the output.txt. But what if this output.txt is not there? Believe me, operating system is going to create this output.txt file. It is going to put all the output, whatever the ls command is going to give, inside this output.txt. Interesting, right? And now if I do ls, suppose if I do ls here, it is going to give me the output demo.txt, input.txt, and output.txt. Why? Because now the system has created this output.txt file, and whatever the output of this ls command, right? When I write ls, it is going to go into the output.txt, right? And how to check the content of a file? If you remember from the previous classes, we can have a utility called cat, and if we give cat and the file name, and the file name here, I am interested because I am writing the ls command output into the output.txt, and that is why I am just writing the output cat output.txt. It is going to give me the output of this command, right? Whatever is written, sorry, it is going to give me the content of this file. And if I do cat output.txt, it is going to give me demo and input and output. And of course, these are the three files now. So what I've done, I am just saying ls command to not send the output to the monitor. Please send the output to output.txt file. And now I am doing the cat on output.txt file, and it is going to give me this result. It is as simple as that. Now let's talk about error also. As you can see that inside the test directory, we have only these three files. And now I'm doing ls desk.txt. What is the meaning? I want to make sure that desk.txt is there, print it, right? But ls command is saying cannot access desk.txt. Why? Because there is no such file or directory, and there is no such file or directory, right? And this is basically the error. As you know that any command in Linux is going to have standard output, error, and input, right? So basically, we are not able to find desk.txt, and that is why there is an error. And now I want to print this error to a file. Right now, this error was printed on the terminal. I do not want to print it. As you can see here also, when I write ls greater than symbol output.txt, it is not producing any output, right? Why? Because the output is going into the output.txt, right? Output file, not to the terminal. And similarly here, I want this error to be captured inside a file, and that is why I'm writing it ls desk.txt. And now, instead of writing only this one, because this is going to be the standard output, I am writing 2 in front of it. 2 is the file handle for standard error. If you do not get it, perfectly fine. But I have to write 2 and greater than symbol to send the error towards this file. And this file I am going to create error.txt. In fact, error.txt is also created by the system. So what is the meaning of this command? ls desk.txt. Basically, I know that this command is going to produce the error because there is no desk.txt command. Sorry, there is no desk.txt file. And now what I'm doing is I am printing this error into a file, and the file name is I have chosen error.txt. This error going to be this error will get stored in this error.txt file. And if I do the ls here, now you are going to see one more file, error.txt. Who has created this file? This command has created this file. Operating system has created this file for you, right? Why? Because you want the ls error inside this error.txt, and when you print the content of error.txt, it is going to give you this one, right? And of course, this is the error because now it is not printed to the terminal. It is printed into the file. And if you print that file, it is going to give you this result. It is as simple as that. Now, let's take a pause here and let's answer some of the questions. Mr. Arun, please ask your question.
Yes. Vishnu, I have two questions. First of all, I can see there is one file input.txt. As you mentioned, we got standard input, standard output, and standard error. So will I be able to see the commands, whatever you are entering on that
No,
input.txt,
no,
or
no. This is the just normal file. This is, do not go
that's
with the name.
just
Just like
okay?
demo.txt, I have created this input.txt. It is not created by the system.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, and second question, okay, we are creating the file, with the name output.txt
Mhm.
or error.txt. Can I just use some other name, or is it just fixed?
Absolutely. Any name. And this is
Any
my
name?
bad. This is my bad that I'm using these name output or error. You can use
Okay,
anything. And thank you so much for asking this question. It is going to clear a lot of doubts when people are watching this offline. So instead of output.txt, you can create, let's say, abc.txt. That's perfectly fine. Okay,
okay, okay, thanks.
perfect. Mr. Rahul, please ask your question.
Hi Vishnu, I would like to ask two questions.
Mhm.
First is when you have written cat output.txt, it should only show two output, demo.txt or input.txt, because the output is inside the output.txt, not the output.txt inside output.txt.
Here is the chicken and egg problem, I would say, right? See, ls command is going to print all the current files. Do you agree with me, Mr. Rahul?
Yes.
Right? And when you give the ls command, it is going to print all the files. And this file is also created for you because whatever the output you are going to send, this file is also created first hand before collecting the output. And that is why ls is going to say that, okay, demo was there for sure, input was there for sure, right? But you have created this file, maybe abc.txt or output, and that is why it is going to print this also. Is it making sense now?
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, second question.
Second is when you have written lsdex.txt
Mhm.
two greater than. It means we are asking that in the error.txt we'll be writing two lines.
No, this two means actually I forgot to mention you that basically uh, we have std in, std out, and stdr, right? So basically there are some handles associated with it. So basically every file in Linux has a handle. This handle is a number, maybe 20, 30, 40. This is an integer, right? If any program wants to use this file, generally it use this with a number. So by default, standard error has this number, which is 2, right? So with this command, I am just saying that if I write only this word greater than, it is going to print the standard output. You agree with me, right? Now I am saying that print actually the standard error. So I need to differentiate with something, and that is why I'm differentiating. This is the standard process. You always need to write 2 for representing anything, right? The standard error, sorry. This error could be 5 line long, 10 line long, depends on the command, right? It doesn't depend on this 2. Did you get the answer, Mr. Rahul?
So 2 only represents standard error.
You are right.
Okay.
Perfect.
And there are different errors and different parameters for them.
No, there for all the errors, and that is why I mentioned that for this standard error, the file handle is 2. You are always going to write 2. It is not like that for different error it is going to be changed value. Always 2. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Then we have Mr. Prashant Pat.
One more question.
Yeah, please go
Sorry,
ahead. Please go
sorry.
ahead.
Okay, sorry. You mentioned about the handler. So each file will be having, I mean, system file will be having a handler, or how is it
Every
actually?
file, and basically
Every file.
in Linux everything is file. So everything is
Okay,
going to have a handle, which
okay.
could be used by process. Okay.
Thanks.
Prashant ji, please ask your question.
Yeah, Vishnu. Let's say we have demo and input .txt files. Okay, I have listed the two output.txt, and again I will go and create 2 more files. If I rerun that ls to output.txt, will it overwrite the output
this
file?
is the homework for you. But I will give and that is why whatever come to your mind, I would say just test it. But I will give you a little bit clue about it, right? So and this is very, very important, whatever you ask, but I would say repeat this exercise. If you write ls uh, greater than symbol and say abc.txt, so you all know that this command is going to create a file with the name abc.txt, and basically all the files and directories. Suppose this is going to have the 3 files, so it is going to print this file number 1, file number 2, file number 3 here, here, and here. We all agree with that, right? Now suppose if you want to give this command again, ls, right, and then basically abc.txt, and maybe you have introduced one more file, right? So now there are 4 files here. So what the next command is going to do, it is going to rewrite this or overwrite this. What is the meaning of overwrite? Meaning of overwriting is whatever is there in the file abc.txt, it is going to remove it and then write it again, right? But suppose you do not want to do that. Whatever the command you are running again abc.txt, you want that the previous output was supposed to be there, and then you are going to create another output here, right? Maybe again for number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8. This command is going to override this, but if you do not want to do that, use this symbol again. Means if you use these 2 symbols, 2 greater than sign, then basically it is going to append. The meaning of append it is not going to uh, delete the previous entries. It is going to add whatever the new command is there, right? So Mr. Prashant, try to do this on your system. Okay, so if you use this twice, then basically it is going to append whatever the file is there below it. Otherwise it is going to rewrite that. Okay, Mr. Rahul, do you have
Okay.
another question or
Vishnu, I have a question. Sorry, Arun again.
yeah, Arun.
Okay. You mentioned about the handler, like, error dot, standard error is handler too. So how we come to know both the number, because, the system has a lot of files, right?
This is basically this is reserved for these 3 files: std in,
Okay.
std out, and this one. These are reserved value.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Now,
Vishnu, one more question. When we are saying greater than sign writes a file and touch also writes a file, right?
mhm.
But greater than is going to create a file for us with the inputs, whatever in front of it. Is it like that?
Yeah. So whatever the output of this command is, right? It is going to be there inside. These are going to be the content of this file. But if you say touch and output.txt, right? This is going to create the output.txt, but nothing is going to be inside that. Okay, but if you do ls, then greater than sign and output.txt, then basically it is going to create a file for you, and the content of the file are going to be output of ls command. If there are 100 files, there are going to be 100 lines in it. Did you get it, man?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. Now let's move to and understand, try to understand what do I mean with uh, standard redirection of basically inputs. What is the meaning of it? So if you see here, we are using a sort command right now. I'm into the test directory, I'm writing the sort, and now what I'm doing here is I have written the CBA. So how you are going to simulate this in your lab? You are going to write sort onto your terminal and do the enter. When you do the enter, you are going to write the character which you want to sort, like C, B, A, I have written. And from where? Of course, from your keyboard. And that is why I have written CBA. And now I want to sort these three characters. And that is why I am going to give again a enter after writing A. And then I will be writing Control D. So what you need to do is write sort, enter C, then enter B, then enter A. And then after A, you need to write Control, hold the Control button and write the plus D. Sorry, write the D. Control plus D means hold Control and press D. Once you do that, command output is going to be this one. So this one was your input, which you are providing from your keyboard, right? This is your output, which you are going to get, right? As a result of this one. So this is your output. You are going to see right here on your terminal. This is your input from where it is coming, keyboard. And now what I want is, I do not want the input should come from the keyboard. I want the input should come from a file. And I have created a file with the name input.txt. And this file I have created. So what would I have done? I would have written touch input.txt, and basically I open this file using nano editor input.txt, which is one of the most simplest editor, and then I have written some things in it inside it, which is E D C B A. So this is the file I have created. And that is why I've written ls here to showcase you that I have now two files inside this demo.txt and input.txt. And if I want to see the content of input.txt, I am seeing these things, right? So it is as good as saying that I already have a file and the file name is input.txt. The name can be anything. The name could be abc.txt also, right? And inside this file, I have these characters E, D, C, B, A. And now what I'm doing, just try to understand. I am again using sort command. Previously, the input method was what? Keyboard. But now I am saying sort command, and I am informing sort command that sort command do not take input from the keyboard. Take input from the input.txt. And how I am informing it? I'm informing it with this symbol. Previously, when you're doing output, the symbol was greater than or in this direction. Right now, the symbol in this direction. Sort command is going to take input from input.txt. And what is written in input.txt? EDCBA. What sort command is going to do? It is going to write this into a sequence ABCDE. Interesting, right? I have changed the default behavior. Now sort command is not asking the input from the keyboard. The sort command is taking input from the input.txt. Whatever is there, it is going to showcase you here in the sequence form. But it doesn't mean that it is changing the input.txt. No. If you see the cat, the output is again going to be the same, right? It is not changing the file. It is taking the input from that file and it is arranging them into a sequence and showcasing you. So this is the output. You are not changing the output of the sort command. Output is still your terminal, but the input is your file, which is input.txt. It is as simple as that. Interesting. Do repeat this exercise. Do repeat this screenshot in your lab.